Sydney and I did our research on a lower level course and an upper level course, looking to build student self-efficacy with the use of our VisiBody app and using it as an extended lab tool in our human sciences classes. So the concepts of engagement and successful course outcomes, we feel should be weaved into every course design and teaching style to engage our students, have solid career outcomes. And in today's world, and especially with COVID now, the use of technology has become a part of every course offered in today's higher education. And with that presence being so dominant now, this research will actually serve us really well and hopefully be able to serve others well. So basically, the programs that we offer in our Health and Human Performance Department at the University of Wisconsin, we really do pride ourselves on having our courses present research-based health and wellness concept. And in the Health and Human Performance Department, we focus a lot on human function across the lifespan. We're preparing our students to enter into allied health careers, be it Phy-Ed teacher working with the youngest populations or with seniors in the second stage of their life working with the most older presentation population. So the method of creating quality learning environments and experiences for our students is what kind of sparked Sydney and I to move forward with this research. In our courses, we know that our students need this practical experiences of hands-on labs to help them understand the content that we share. So we all teach and share new information with our students, but we need them to demonstrate that they understand how to use that information. That's the only way that they are going to prepare for themselves for their future careers. So our research, Sydney and I, our research focused on student outcomes again and student engagement, so we could align that with the best practice course design. The courses we used for our research was our Health 264, Human Structure and Function, and then our HHP 362 Kinesiology. Each of those courses require a textbook and have a lab component in there. So we went one step further and we added the VisiBody app. And this app allows technology to be more readily available to our students because they can download the study material onto their cell phone, their tablet, or onto their computer. So the VisiBody app is a lab download onto their computer, and then has an extended study tool that allows the student to download it onto their cell phones also. Like I said, Sydney and I took our one step further, offering the students a study tool of an additional mobile app on their cell phones. And we all know the students, they carry their cell phones everywhere. And some of them have like a little mental breakdown if their cell phones actually break. It's like they lost their right arm. So we were hoping, like, if they were bored at a train stop, waiting for the bus, hanging out, or just whatever, they might flip on their phone and review the readily available flashcards on the phone app. So, like I said, the use of technology has become part of every course offered in today's higher education, now more so than before COVID. So you have Zoom lectures, you have video lectures, you have learning platforms of Canvas or D2L. Students are using their laptops in courses for taking notes. You have online assessment submissions, their homeworks and everything. So looking into any type of technology and how it can better serve our teaching and our student outcomes, we felt was really important. So if we move on to the purpose, we did this. So the visual on the slide is just a very narrative concept. It's just taking the 264 Human Structure and Function course, then it shares with us, or you all, the introduction of the content in that course, adding their first experience to the VisiBody lab. So the regular lab component with the addition of the VisiBody app, taking that course, those students passing that class with a C or better, they take that knowledge and experience, it funnels down into their next higher level course, which expands on human function of the kinesiology. And that is their second exposure to the VisiBody tool and app. And our desire was to be able to, like I said previously, we're always looking to prepare our students for their career. So our research aimed, again, to address student engagement, student outcomes, and build greater student self-efficacy. And self-efficacy in the concept of being able to study courses within the health sciences program and aid in our design of best practice course design. With our hypothesis, I guess, is that having health science materials literally, again, at their fingertips might spark more review of course materials during downtimes as the app is with them. Their phones are with them, the app is with them, and we're hoping that with the readily available app on their phone, it will help them perform better and understand our content in our classes. So we used both quantitative and qualitative methods in both courses, 264 and 362, to evaluate our students' ability to increase engagement and improve course outcomes. Again, the addition of the phone app as a study tool actually we did find that it was a positive lab experience that did align with our current student technology use, smartphones. Again, our main focus is always to prepare our students for their future careers. The nice thing about the phone app is it is readily available to them always. It's not something that will expire on their phones. So the virtual lab components are readily available for them for 2 years on their laptops or their personal computers. The nice thing is this phone app will travel with them through their life if they want, because the app will never expire on their phone. And now we'll have Sydney process through and share our research outcomes with all of you.
Yeah, so thank you, Kim. So as we're kind of coming through this, we sent out surveys to our 2 different classes. So again, our students were enrolled in a 200 level health, human structure and function course, which is very similar to a standard anatomy physiology course. And then we had our HHP 362 or our kinesiology course, a junior senior level course, take the same survey. We surveyed out 3 different times. There was 11 questions on it. We kind of addressed this in the fall 2020 semester as a pre, mid, and post semester kind of quiz and survey as we went through this. We asked our participants questions on their age, their gender, their year in school, naturally. And then we had additional questions pertaining to their use and satisfaction of the application. So using that phone app, how much did they use it? How much did they actually like using it? And then we analyzed our data using paired t-test and one-way ANOVA. And when we did find significance in that one-way ANOVA, we used the Tukey-Kramer post-hoc test to find where that significance specifically lied. Since we were doing more than 2 variables with those 3 different surveys, we had to find that significance. Here's just up top, I also have an image of what that VisiBody app actually looks like. So on this app, our students can go through and using their fingers like they would on their phone, go through and identify different pieces. We can see that we can hide different pieces of the body. So if we wanted to hide this rib cage, we would select it, hide it, and now we can see the heart and lungs underneath. So we can really dig into the body this way, as well as seeing the bigger picture. Here are our survey questions, just so we have some kind of context as we're going through our results here. So our first 3 questions were our demographic questions, just to find out who we were surveying. How old were these students? What year in college were they? And did we have any differences in gender? Then we asked, again, basic questions on their usage and success with the Visible Body app. So how many hours do you typically studying for 1 week? Not specifically this class or that class, but in general, how much time do you put towards your class in a week? And then this was more important earlier on in the semester, but how confident are you in identifying our landmarks on the body? As we're going through our pre to post semester, we're hoping to find an increase in our confidence, an increase in our self-efficacy here. Then how many times a week do you estimate you actually use that app? So how often are you logging into it and using it? Of course, they're going to be logging in at least 1 or 2 times a week for their classwork, but are they logging in anytime outside of that? How difficult was it to use? Generally, we would expect to see that as our usage increases, the difficulty would decrease. As they're getting more comfortable with it, we would see a decrease in that difficulty. Do we feel like the app is better than the use of flashcards? We all know that we've used flashcards in the past. Our students use flashcards all the time to do studying. So is this more effective? If so, it would, one, save them a ton of time. They don't have to create all those flashcards. And again, it's at their fingertips, so they can use it all the time. And then we just ask questions. Was this a positive supplement? Do you feel that it actually enhanced your learning? That's the ultimate goal, right? If it's not enhancing their learning, then we need to find something else. And then do you feel that you would have been successful or able to retain the information without the app? So again, we have that, did it enhance your learning, and would you have been successful without it? From this survey, again, it was sent out 3 different times. We had a pre, mid, and post semester, so we could track any changes, and across 2 different classes. So we had a 200 level course and then a 300 level course. Here are our student demographics. As you can see, we had a majority of our 264 students, our structure and function, were freshmen and sophomore students. So we had our undergraduate classmen. Most of them, this was likely the very first time ever using the app. And then in our 300 level course, we can see we don't have any freshmen here, and we're really looking at our sophomores, juniors, and seniors, with the largest portion coming into our juniors. So it's very likely that our students from this class just jumped straight into this class. So they have that experience going forward. And then we can break it down even further with not seeing any significant age differences between the 2 classes. And our numbers were pretty even all the way through for a total of 49 participants. Those 49 that came in ended up being about 65% of our class. We got a 65% return rate on these surveys, showing a pretty solid backing from our students here. We have our survey results. So we have our first, second, and third surveys, so pre, mid, and post. All of our main 8 questions. I didn't include our demographic questions here because they're not important for the changes. We can see some significance as we came through here as well. We did see that our upperclassmen reported significant increases in self-confidence from using this app. So this could come from them using the app over time, and it's significantly helping them, or in general, learning the class. They're in this class learning the human body. So maybe that was that increase. But we did see significant increases from pre to post semester, and we can see that with question 2. Even by that mid-semester, even though not significant, we did already see some increases there. So we're seeing increases all the way through here. We saw our usage significantly increase across both classes. So as the semester progressed, either our students understood the app better and decided to use it more, or they had a greater perceived need of the app. So they logged into it more that way. And we can see that significance on both aspects here. We see a decline in their usage in that mid-semester. Perhaps we had mid-semester projects, other things going on, so our students decreased, or they thought they didn't need it and then realized that they did, so they came back to it by that post-semester, and we saw that increase. Surprisingly, our lower classmen, our freshman, sophomore class, that 200 level class, reported significant increases in difficulty. So we see that with question number 4 here. We see significant increases in difficulty with usage of the app in this class. In contrast, our upper level classmen decreased their difficulty. So again, we have some kind of comparisons we might have here, where as they get higher in college, maybe they're just more technologically advanced. They just understand technology a little bit better, and they understand the body better. So it's perhaps as they're identifying these structures, they understand where they are, what they're clicking a little more clearly. And that's why that difficulty decreased. We also did this during our first COVID semester. So fall 2020, it's very possible that these students were just burnt out on technology. And that is kind of a bias that we see. It's hard to determine specifically from here, but we do see some significant increases in difficulty matched with decreases on our upper level class. And then we saw that our 264 students actually indicated that the visible body tool was a positive supplement to their learning. And they indicated this significantly more than our kinesiology students. So in this 7, even though it doesn't look significant, we did see significance lying here on our difference and our increase in the positive perception of our visible body with our 200 level class compared to our 300 level class. This is interesting because even as they saw that increased positivity and the increased perception of this app, at the same time, they were seeing increased difficulty. So even though it was getting harder, they were still realizing how much they needed it. So they had something else going on there that despite that difficulty, they were still relying on that app. And then while not significant, the perceived need for the visible body app as a supplement actually decreased as the semester progressed. And I know this doesn't look great, but if we're thinking about this, them needing the app less as they're learning the material is a good thing. We want them to have to use us and their resources less over time. So as they're coming through the semester, that perceived need decreases, likely as a result of increase in knowledge, where they don't need that app as that supplement because they already have that knowledge there for them. And we received some really nice qualitative feedback from our students as well here. So we have it kind of going back and forth. So on the negative side, some of our students really didn't like it, which is understandable. Anytime we throw something new, especially with all the technology that they were learning, we're going to see that. One, just not the biggest fan. Another one thought it was very confusing. This one said the most difficult part of the app was taking the quizzes. Another one, again, it was very sensitive. Both of these are coming down to the quizzes within visible body. So how effective are they? The biggest feedback I saw anecdotally, not just from this survey, was rotating our quizzes and finding the tiny little pieces on our muscle can be very touchy and sensitive. And that's probably something that we have to work through with the visible body itself. I don't think that's something that we can do. Now, on the other spectrum, some students really liked this. So I have trouble with memory a lot of times when it comes to studying. But since I started using the app, it's helped improve my memory for studying more than before using the app. So we're seeing significant increases in how they're perceiving this and that they're perceiving that they need it and they're seeing actual improvements. The visible body is really easy to use and it's simple to understand once you get used to the program. So we're seeing with this 300 level class, the decreased difficulty. They got used to it and they understood it a lot easier. This is a fantastic app which helps students learn as if it were a hands-on situation. I really like the visible body app. I really enjoy exploring the body on the app. I like using it because I feel as though I'm seeing the things I'm looking for, but also what's around it. So they're learning context with the human body. They're seeing the heart, but they're also seeing the lungs and the rib cage surrounding the heart and understanding that structure a little bit more clearly. And then I think it's a great supplement to the normal course material. And then we had some of our upper level classroom students have some really good feedback, some quantitative feedback here. So the visible body quizzes felt very disconnected, but I really enjoy the app and I actually think it's really cool. So they didn't like certain aspects, but the app overall was a really nice supplement for them. Overall, the app is difficult to use, but it's extremely helpful and worthwhile to have. I like the idea, but I feel that there's so much with this app that it's somewhat of a downfall. So they're a little bit neutral. They like the idea of the app, but it overwhelms them. I have mixed feelings about visible body. Sometimes I feel like it's helpful, but sometimes I just feel like it's extra work. So there are some materials that can help you study, but I personally do not use them because it gives them too much information. So maybe we on our end need to specify what our students need from the app and mess around specifically and give them better guidance, and that could help them there. But we're seeing clearly all the way through that we're having this positive perception of the app, even if there are some pieces that maybe we're not huge fans of. And then I will hand it back over to Kim.
So our data actually did serve us really well. It showed us that the app and the addition of the app on the phone is a plus for our courses, but it also showed us that we have more to learn and we need to work with VisiBody directly and just see if there's ways we can tweak the content to better serve our student population. Now, with that said, VisiBody is a very progressive company, and they're already addressing some of the issues that we have seen or that the students have shared with us. So Sydney and I will touch base over the summer and review some of the new offerings. And I perceive and I hope that both of our classes will benefit and the students will even benefit more. But the one nice thing that will never change is the app, the study tool app, will always be available on their phone. So they can take it into their professional careers for easy access to information if they need that type of information quickly. So future research for Sydney and I, and we do plan to expand on this, there's always need for further research across all disciplines. It doesn't matter which discipline you're in. Again, the VisiBody technology is adding new toys or tweaks to their product. Other technologies will be available that we might want to look into or will look into. And then we also need to do some comparison between our face-to-face and online learners. This research focused on our courses that were offered face-to-face. We didn't bring this into the online formats. And maybe that will be our next breach of addressing the comparatives between the two of them. And basically now we're wondering if anybody has any questions for us, and we'd like to thank you for sharing your time with us and letting us share our brief little research with you.
Thank you very much. This was a really good presentation, and I have learned a lot. I didn't know anything about the VisiBody. Do you have any questions? Raise your hand feature in the Q&A. Questions. I was wondering, from my perspective, have you all used this outside, meaning outside of your classes? Has anyone?
I mean, I personally have, yes. I actually used the same software when I was going through school. So I used it on my own. It wasn't a required class, so I do have that experience with it. And I know our students are using it beyond just our classes. They're bringing it into their other classes because, like Kim said, they do have it for a lifetime. The apps on their phones never expire once they have them. So they have 2-year access to our specific course, but the materials within the application is there forever. So they're using it in other classes as well, taking it into their physiology classes and their disease classes to still look at specifically what parts of the body we're considering.
Okay. And you can ask which areas you want them to.
Exactly. So on our end, we can create our own class shell within the VisiBody application. And our students will specifically go through their kind of units that we decide. And you can design your own program for them. So design your own labs exactly, or take some of the pre-created ones that VisiBody has for you. And they have created matching for at least 4 different anatomy textbooks so far. So they will match textbooks and have this so it fits very smoothly with the course. But if they don't, you have the option to create it yourself so that it does match. And it's not very difficult to do.
That was the one nice thing between Sydney and I. Her VisiBody course work was different than my VisiBody coursework in the lecture lab component, because I had to align it with my lecture for the kinesiology course, and she had to align hers with her health and human structure course. So it's a very versatile app. And it was nice to have Sydney have exposure to it prior to this, because I personally didn't. Bringing it into the classroom was my first exposure. So Sydney had On the other spectrum, as a student, was nice because it gave us a little bit more reassurance that it was user-friendly, because we did look into multiple different virtual labs for our classes. And this is the one that we found to be the most user-friendly. And we did use others that were very stressful to use from our point of view and from the student's point of view.
And are you non-COVID time?
I don't know that we're going to do organized research like this, but it's definitely something that I'm going to be asking my students and be getting their feedback, even if it is informal, because I do think it's worth asking outside of COVID, outside of this constant technology need that they're using. Maybe they won't be as fatigued, you know, Zoom fatigue that we're all feeling. Maybe they won't have that, so they're more likely to use it that way when they're not constantly on their phone or computer.
Right. I think like we definitely very fatigued computer thing. At least I see the students, and I find sometimes they are not, or they don't want to be a new tool, or you know, they're very reluctant doing that. Surprising to me.
Kind of surprises me. It's very surprising with their age. You would assume them to be more technologically advanced than many of us. There are some that I'm still walking through step by step on how to share a screen, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't see any questions from the audience. That's good talking. So is there anything else you guys would like to add as a wrap up?
Kim?
Have any other questions from the audience?
I would like to extend both my email and Sydney's email, if anybody does have questions down the road, for the conference, to openly share those emails and send us any questions that anybody might have. And again, and this isn't necessarily a plug for VisiBody app, but it kind of is. It's actually a really nice user-friendly tool that can be used across so many different disciplines. It's really nice for the students once they get a feel for it.
Right, another learning tool. It's always helpful.